And it feels like hindi ko alam kung paano ko mag-gain yung confidence ko pag naging mom na sila. Parang nawawala na yung career path nila.
Kasi na-fed up ako sa sobrang traffic. So, papasok, dahil madaling araw, either mag-grab ako or mag-aangkas, which is malaki-laki yung expenses.
The time spent with your kids and family are far more important than any job title out there.
Nag-decide ako na maghanap ng online job at nakakuha nga ako. Sobrang saya ko talaga. Kaya tinulungan ko rin yung iba kong mga mommy friends at nagkaroon rin sila ng sarili nilang online job. Kaya doon ako na-inspire at nag-decide na simula ng Filipina home-based moms.
FH Moms Community was created for mothers, for single women, for women professionals and entrepreneurs, for women overseas Filipino workers, for differently abled women, and even for young at heart women. FH Moms is a women community.
Nung nagsimula yung FH Moms, hindi ko in-expect na ganito ka magiging malaki. Ngayon, meron na kaming more than 250,000 members nationwide. Dati, ang tingin ng mga tao sa amin, community lang. No? Ngayon, social enterprise na kami with different projects na tumutulong sa mga kababaihan.
We have free webinars about freelancing, entrepreneurship, parenting, and personal growth. We offer online short courses as well as mastery courses with trainers' 1-year support. We also run a scholarship program and an internship program. We also facilitate charity activities where we are joined by community members as volunteers. Job matching program is something they can also look forward to, as well as e-commerce program. And to celebrate motherhood, we also have online bootcamp for kids. We also have the computer rent-to-own program for members who need assistance in acquiring a computer set. Aspire to be a strong-willed, independent woman.
Mas gusto kong maging productive at saka naniniwala ako sa continuous learning.
Inspire other women.
Everyone was uplifting each other. Everyone was trying to help each other. In this world, you have to be more kind. You have to be more helpful because everyone is fighting their own battles, and you have to understand, you have to empathize, and that is what FH Moms is doing with all the moms out there. Even if you're not a mom, you would feel welcome.
Empower each woman to be in their fullest potential.
And most importantly, Mommy MK and the team model humility and generosity. Talagang ito yung very evident, which impacted me the most. So it gave me the desire to share freely to others what I learned freely from the FH Moms community. And I've always loved the community, the motive of the community, that is to change the world one mom at a time. Good job, FH Moms.
Aspire, inspire, empower. Nothing is stronger than a community of women lifting each other up.
To be among women who have genuinely tried to help people. This is something that I feel passionately about, and then this is something that I saw in FH Moms.
God is good. Kasi parang naturo sa akin itong FH Moms na pinakita sa akin na kahit nasa bahay ka, kahit nag-aalaga ka ng anak mo, it won't stop na dun ka lang. Yun lang yung pwede mong gawin.
Without this community, I'm not here in this situation. So, FH Moms po yung nag-guide and nag-mold sa akin to be the best working at home mom I could ever be.
Ang pinakamalaking impact sa FH Moms sa akin is their quote, which is moving forward, giving back. That's the very essence of FH Moms eh.
That's what I like about this group kasi we encourage and inspire each other to keep dreaming, to chase our dreams. It's actually a big impact kasi if you are losing hope and wala ka ng gana and all, but because of this page, mapapasana all ka.
Dahil sa online job, natupad ko yung mga pangarap ko at ang pinakapangarap ko na lang ay matupad yung pangarap ng lahat ng mga mommies. Huwag tayong titigil na abutin lahat ng mga pangarap natin, masipagan pa natin at huwag tayong susuko. Kaya kung feeling nyo hindi kayo techie, feeling nyo hindi pasok ang edad nyo para dito sa online freelancing, huwag nyong iisipin yon kasi sobrang daming opportunities ang pwedeng ibigay sa inyo online. At nandito ang Filipino home-based moms para suportahan kayo. Para sa mga naghahanap ng online job at gusto ring matuto pagdating sa online business, you can join Filipino Home-Based Moms Facebook group. My name is MK Bertulfo, CEO and founder of Filipino Home-Based Moms, and our goal is to change lives one mom at a time.
Yon! Good evening, mommies, titas, and ates. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I'm so excited to get back and be able to share what I'm going to be teaching tonight. So please tag your mommy friends, anyone who might need this training. I am going to be talking about soft skills. I'm going to be talking about skills that will get you anywhere whether you are a business owner or you are a aspiring employee working from home. So yes, please tag your friends, share this, of course, share this on your Facebook page, share this anywhere that you want, so then more people are able to see this. This is going to be available for replay. You can watch also my previous soft skills trainings inside of the YouTube channel and also actually in the Facebook page. So let me share my beautiful screen. Okay. So like I mentioned, tonight we're going to be talking about Soft Skills 101, beyond the technical. So we're really gonna be focusing not on the technical skills such as how to be a virtual assistant, social media manager. This is really soft skills. I am someone who has been hiring online for the last 6 years, and this is something that I really look out for when I'm hiring myself. And I've also hired for a lot of my friends, and of course currently for our clients. So it's one of the things that people usually forget to develop or usually forget to work on. So this is something that as you guys are diving into how to work from home is very essential. Now, one of the fun things is actually today marks my 1 year being an FH Moms trainer. I went live here on April 8th last year on Wednesday, so it's now moved to Thursday. So I am here every first and third Thursday, usually of the month if it wasn't for the Holy Week. And I'm here teaching about soft skills and different things that could help you get a job online. So for those who have no idea who I am, if this is your first time seeing me as a trainer here in FH Moms, my name is Lai Lacaba. I am the virtual ate. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old. So I just graduated from college, from high school, going to college. And it was a very not boring summer, but I wanted to do something different, and then someone offered me like, hey, can you be a writer for my blog? And of course I said yes. So that's kind of how my journey started. I now have a virtual assistant agency here in Cebu City, so anyone from Cebu City, let me know in the comments. So a lot of my expertise really revolve around hiring and managing people, and also of course growing in your job. So this is why I love talking about soft skills, and hopefully a lot of you will be able to learn from everything that I'll be sharing tonight. So before we start, I always go through this part, which is where I talk about what's called the Teachability Index. It basically states that if you're wanting to learn any skill at all, any kind of learning, you need to have these two things. You need to have the willingness to learn and the willingness to take action. This equates success. Now, one thing that you'll notice, if it's a multiplier, it's a multiplication symbol right there, which means that if you're right now a 10 on learning, you're willing to learn, you're here, you're listening, you have me on your earphones, you have me on your laptop, you're listening anywhere you are, you have the 10 to learn, and you have a 10 on action. That means that you're willing to also not just listen to me, but also take action afterwards. Then you're really guaranteed to succeed in learning the soft skills for tonight. But even if you are on 10 on learning, you're making notes, you're making sure that you have it on your notebook, notebook, you're writing it down, but you're a 0 on action, it's still going to be a 0. It's still going to be kind of like you didn't really do anything, because you're going to forget, you're going to put the notes aside, and you're not going to open it again until maybe I show up again on the same training. And if you're even just a 5 on learning and 5 on action, you're still at a 25, and that's way better, of course, than a 0. So let me know in the comments, what is your score, what is your teachability index tonight, what is your teachability score tonight, how teachable are you tonight? Let me know in the comments. I would really love to know. That way I can also adjust, I can also make way to make sure that I'm giving you the best value tonight. So please let me know. Okay, so character always trumps skills, and there's a lot of different reasons for it, but let me know in the comments who agrees with this, who agrees that it's always character over skills. And this, like I said, there's a bunch of reasons for it. The biggest one is your character you can bring to any job that you go into. So and of course for skill, it's usually for just a specific job. Now when I started on the company that I helped co-found a few years ago, I started out as a book editor. So I would edit books, I would edit grammar, I would format the books. So that was where I started. So that was part of my skills. My character was that I was always curious. I was always ready to learn. I was always wanting to see what else I can do different and what else I can do faster. Now, when I got promoted to manager, I had to learn a new set of skills. I had to learn how to be a manager. I had to learn how to look at financial reports to make sure that I was doing good for the position that I got. So I had to change my skills through that, and I still brought my character of being curious, of being someone who was willing to learn. And when I finally became CEO of the publishing company, I again had to learn a whole new set of skills, how to systematize, how to hire, how to manage a lot of different managers. So as that journey for me went through, I had to change my skills every time, but my character of wanting to be someone who's curious, wanting to be someone who is always learning, stayed with me. That's why it's always character over skills, because you're going to change the job that you have, you're going to change the position that you have, but if you have a really good character, it stays with you. It's a marker of you. It's kind of almost part of your branding in that way, when you are known to be that person who is able to, as they grow in a company, as they become a business owner, maybe if that's one of your goals, you still have that character. So that is one of the biggest reasons why it's character over skills. Let me know if you agree with that. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this part of knowing that in any job that you have, whether right now you're a virtual assistant and you want to specialize in social media management, for example, that is skill. That is something that's usually called a hard skill or a technical skill. But your soft skills, your character, your heart, that is something that you bring over wherever you go. So I'm going to be talking about the top 10 soft skills tonight, but to be clear, you don't need to have all these soft skills. The fun thing about soft skills is once you have at least just 3 of them mastered, it kind of connects to everything else. It kind of just falls into place of all of the other soft skills. Again, you don't have to be 100% of all of the 10. It could be that you're just focusing on just one. If you're just a master on one, then you're already invaluable. Then you can also try to master 3, maybe just put 10% here, 10% here, 10% here. The rest are tinier ones. That's also okay. The point of this is for you to just be more aware of it, to just more know of what is out there, of what are the possibilities, so then you can start working on the ones that you want to work on. Now, why is character important in getting a job? One is you can learn skills easily, but character is something that you have to develop throughout life. So for example, when I had to learn how to be able to manage a whole company, it took me a whole year, but my character when I started out, I was already an ate. I'm the eldest of 4 children. Well, three from my siblings, 4 including me, and that was a character that I had developed, of being someone who knew how to be in charge, of being someone who knew what to do when there was a crisis. So that was the character that I was bringing into the company. So that's what I mean by, I just want all of you, the purpose of this training is for all of you to be just aware of character, aware of the different soft skills. By the way, let me know if I'm going too fast, if I'm speaking too fast. I do have my reminder to stay hydrated. I do have my 2-liter water bottle here to stay hydrated. So again, let me know if you have any questions, if I'm going too fast, and I will of course slow down for you. Next is, you can be the most skilled applicant, but if you don't have the right attitude, you're not gonna get hired. I've seen this over and over again. Right now within our agency, we hire virtual assistants. We hire executive assistants right now, actually just from Cebu. So if you're interested, we're only hiring from here because we have to hire locally. It's a longer story, but I have seen so many really good resumes, but when I talk to them during the interview, when I try to see what soft skills they had, they kind of failed the interview. And I've seen this, like I said, over and over again. So if you're someone right now who is either getting back into the workplace or it's the first time that you're going to get a job, this is again essential. You probably, for those who have had jobs before, the usually the most skilled person in the room is the person that everyone kind of hates because they never developed their soft skills. So this training will really walk you through that process of how to be aware of what soft skills are and also what soft skills that you can develop. And of course, skills can always be outdated, but being someone who has good character never goes out of demand. Like I said, for me, I started out as just a book editor. I was just editing books. I was editing a grammar. I was taking out errors in a book. And then because I had this, again, curiosity, that was my drive for a few years, I kept going. I just kept finding ways. Even though I kept stumbling, I would just get up. And my boss saw that. My boss saw that. That's why he was able to promote me. He promoted me again to CEO. And since then, I've been able to co-found this company that I now have with that same company. I partnered with them just because they also really had good character. So that's why building your character, building your soft skills is so essential. Now again, tonight we're going to talk about the top 10 soft skills that you need to have to get long-term clients. What I mean by this is not just to get your first client, but to get a client who wants to keep working with you, who keeps recommending more people to you, who keeps coming back because you're the type of person that they know in their head has these soft skills, and thus you're a person that they can trust. Okay, so the first one is written and voice communication skills. Now, next month, I'm going to really dive into how to improve your communication skills, so make sure to watch out for May 6th. Just look at my calendar. Watch out for May 6th for that training on how to improve your communication skills. But for this one, we'll just give a brief overview. So what are the uses of your written and voice communication skills? Well, first one is of course doing video calls. Everyone is sadly, well, not super sadly, but everyone is doing more and more video calls. Your kids are doing video calls with their classes. So if you're someone who has really good written and voice communication skills, then you're someone who's able to communicate your ideas even though it's not in person. Of course, another one is exactly like these, doing presentations. I have really worked on my communication skills in the last 2 years. That's why I'm able to just come in, even though I'm a little bit sick right now or a little bit injured, I'm still able to come in because I've developed that part of myself, of being a good communicator. Another one is, of course, for writing reports or even giving reports. If you are someone who is tasked to be able to give the company information, having really good written and voice communication skills helps with that. Writing emails. So if you are applying, whether you're applying for a job, you're asking for a promotion, or you are just letting your boss know that you're taking 2 weeks off, having the really good written communication skills really help with that. And of course, public speaking. I've spoken in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Manila, in bigger stages, and having really good communication skills really helps because then I know how to relate to the audience, I know how to make an audience laugh, I know how to get their attention, so then they're always, they're glued to what I'm going to say next. And of course, negotiation. You might be negotiating your salary. Never forget to negotiate your salary if you see that there is a chance to negotiate your salary. Whether you're negotiating maybe your house sale or buying a second-hand car, having really good communication skills help with that. And of course, being able, once you get to that part of you're a business owner or you're a manager, being able to delegate and monitor tasks and be able to give people feedback as well, and of course conflict resolution. So these are all the different uses or the different things that you can apply having communication skills on. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments which ones you've gone through in the last, like recently, of having to really have good communication skills. So thank you for everyone coming in. Thank you for those who have been sharing the video, the live. I'm looking forward to seeing any questions that you might have. Again, let me know if you want me to slow down or give more examples. So how do you improve your communication skills? So the first thing, and this is so important, is you need to learn how to listen. You need to learn how to listen to the person that you are talking to, and this is essential, to listen without the intention of talking. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's say we're having a conversation and I was asking you, hey, how was your day? Don't be that person who holds that. I hope they asked me about my day. My day was like this. You're only waiting for them to ask you a question. That's why you ask them a question. So don't be that person if you really want to be a good communicator. A good communicator listens really well. That way they can respond in the right way to their audience instead of holding a thought in their head. Next is have clarity. Always communicate with an endpoint. Always try to communicate with an endpoint. What this means is when you're communicating with people, especially in a job interview, you want to have some sort of anchor that you revolve your answers around. So for example, let's say that the question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years? For me, my anchor is where I see myself in 10 years is running, let's say if I was doing a job interview, running my own agency, being able to travel wherever I want. So that's my anchor, right? So everything else that I'm going to say during that, while I'm answering that question, is going to be that, and it'll conclude on my anchor. So that's what it means to communicate with an endpoint. You have a purpose when you are talking. And one of the more powerful ones that you can do is repeat back what they said. This shows that you listen. This shows that you are making the effort to really listen into what they're trying to say. So that is what repeat back what they said means. Imagine if you're talking to me and you just said, yeah, I'm really having troubles with work. It really sucks. If I say, why are you having trouble with work? That's what it means by repeating back what they just said. You are literally taking their words and showing them that you were really listening to them. Another really powerful communication tip is wrap up meetings with a check on to-do. So if you're having a meeting with anyone, let's say you're having a meeting with your boss or a team, try to be that person who says, just to make sure, again, this is all about clarity, just to make sure, I want to make sure that, so-and-so does this, so-and-so does that. Does that mean that these are my responsibilities after this meeting? What other things do we want to make sure that we capture, so then it's clear for then the next meeting? So that's what I mean by wrapping up meetings with a check on to-dos. What are the things that we committed on? What are the things that we said we wanted to do? And the last tip that I have on improving your communication skills is to join Toastmasters. Now, if you have no idea what a Toastmasters is, it is usually, it's now different because of the pandemic, a local club that you can join. They now are doing this on live, actually on Facebook and on Zoom. But basically, they help you really just develop your communication skills. You will be doing speeches where people will then give you feedback on what else to improve on. So if voice communication skills is something you want to develop, if verbal communication skills is something you want to develop, I really encourage joining a Toastmasters. You can go to Toastmasters website and find a local club near you. And of course, practice a lot. One of the reasons why I can speak this way is for 100 days in 2019, I did one video a day. And now I'm doing my YouTube videos twice a week. So I've really been able to master the English communication skills because of that. And I also, of course, have clients from the US, from the UK, from Australia. So I'm talking to them. That's why I might have sometimes weird accents coming out, just because I also really listen to them. And of course, I kind of catch that. So practicing really, really helps. If you listen to me 3 years ago, the end of 3 years ago, I sounded so awkward. I would throw in a Bisaya word in there, just because I was struggling to find the English word for it. So I really practiced, I really worked on it. That's why I'm more confident about my communication skills. Okay, so we have before I jump into, we have a good question on written communication. So that is true. I didn't really put in a lot of it here, but basically for written skills, you want to make sure that if you're writing back and forth with an email, same thing. You want to listen. You want to really read through. You don't want to hold a thought in your head while you're reading through. You want to have clarity. You want to write with clarity. You need to have an endpoint. You want to be able to write back what they just said. You want to insert actual phrases that they used in an email in your email to make sure to help them feel that they were heard. You want to wrap up any meetings or any agendas with to-do. Same thing. Joining Toastmasters, you can also join a writing group if that's something that you really want to work on, and practice a lot still applies. So those are kind of how you can apply all of those for verbal into written skills as well. Next is time management skills. Rating from 1 to 10. Let me know in the comments where you would rate yourself in time management skills while I drink my water. 10 being the highest. Where do you think you are on time management? Let me know. Because I'm getting a little bit thirsty talking. Let me know where you are at in your time management skills. Where would you rate yourself? So we have a 10. Amazing. We have 5s. Very awesome. So hopefully the tips that I have tonight will just help improve some of them. We'll give you some insight. Ooh, we have 6s, we have 5s, we have 8s. Okay, good. That's a really good place to start. Okay, so what are the uses of your time management skills? Of course, one is you become just a more effective employee or employer, or just someone who just a more effective person also, just overall, just because you have really good time management skills. It also helps you train to be a manager. So one of the things that I had to learn as I switched from employee to manager was, as a manager, it wasn't my job to get things done. It was to help support the people that I was managing to get things done. So having really good time management skills would train you on, like, okay, how do I make sure that this person focuses on the right things rather than getting distracted by the wrong things? So that's kind of, as a manager, you kind of go into more strategic mode, and having really good time management skills help with that. And of course, it helps with prioritizing projects. It helps you to make sure that you guys are working on the right things moving forward and not getting sidetracked on other stuff. And of course, it helps just handling deadlines when you're able to do or able to have really good time management skills, because then you're someone who now knows, like, oh, okay, this is now the time to start this project, this is now the time to pause this project, it's not really doing anything. And of course, it helps develop discipline. It helps you develop, this is when I'm going to be working out, this is going to be the time that I'm going to take a walk or do some meditation, because you have your time managed. You have your time disciplined enough to the point that you know what to do when. So how do you, or what are the different ways that you can improve your time management skills, especially for those who are 10s? Let me know if any of these help. One is, I really recommend working in time blocks. So what I mean by time blocks, and there's different versions of this. One is called the Pomodoro, where you work for 25 minutes and you take a big break for 5 minutes. What that means, or what that creates, is you are blocking out a time to do certain tasks. So for example, for me, in a day, I will have tasks that involve me being CEO, and I'll have tasks that involve me being the virtual ate, being this coach for people who want to work from home. So for me, I will you have a time block for each one to make sure that things get done within that time. So for example, for me, I'll say, I'm going to start working from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock on just these tasks. And of course, then I'll break that time into smaller things as to that point where I know that I should remember to take a break, that I should remember to take a stretch and eat and drink water, to make sure that I am also taking care of myself as I get work done. So that's what time blocks are. You're putting your work, you're grouping together tasks that go together into time block chunks, so that it makes sense for you and it's an easier flow for you. Next is you want to try to at least reassess projects every week. What that means is, as you end your week, it's Friday or Saturday, whatever time you end your week, you want to look at the projects that you're working on and you want to see, are they still worth doing? Are they still worth putting my time on for the next week? Because sometimes, and it happens, we will have projects that have been on our list since December or since even early of last year. So that's why you want to reassess your projects every week to see if this is still something that you want to do. And of course, you also want to assess the tasks that you're doing every week. You want to see, okay, why did I even work on this in the first place? Did this actually move me forward towards the goal that I want? So you're asking yourself these questions, because then it's going to be easier for you for the next week to manage your time. You want to ask yourself, how long did it take for me to do these tasks? Why did it take so long? Could I have done it easier? Could I have done it faster? So that's why you want to reassess your tasks. Next is you want to document the things that you've accomplished. Like I said earlier, you want to ask yourself, how long did it actually take me to do this? Because then the next time that you do it, it's easier for you to set up dates and appointments. So for example, for me, I know it takes me 30 to 45 minutes. Usually it depends if I have a reading a really good book to finish my morning routine. I meditate, I journal, and I read. That's my three basics of my morning routine. And the last part is usually doing my skincare. But usually I have reading in between there, and sometimes that'll take longer. But I make up for it. I was like, okay, 30 to 45 minutes. So I make sure that when I start my day, my meetings start at 7 o'clock, because I usually wake up at 6, so I have a buffer time. So because I know how long it usually takes me to finish my morning routine, that's why you want to keep them in mind. And of course, prioritize projects based on what you need to do and what you also shouldn't be doing. There are going to be things that you shouldn't be doing, that you should stop doing. So this is the easiest way that I can kind of explain this part. So this is called the Eisenhower matrix. So the Eisenhower matrix is basically one easy way that you can categorize your tasks to make sure that you're working on the right things. So quadrant 1 are usually, the tasks that are urgent and important. These are the tasks that you need to do. That's why it's the first one. So any tasks that need to be done in the day, within the hour, within the minute, these are now your due. Now, any tasks that don't have a end date maybe, or it's too far off, it's next week, it's next month, you want to then plan for when you actually get to it. You want to actually plan, okay, what are the details for this? What do I need to get this done? When does this actually done? When does this go into urgent later on? So you're already planning ahead and not getting to the point where you're panicking, you're cramming at the very last minute. Now, we also have tasks that are sometimes not really important to us, but are urgent. So a funny example for this, for me, is doing the payroll. So for me, that's not as important, because for our amazing bookkeeper, it's important to her. So it's still urgent, especially if we're nearing the time when we have to pay our employees. It's not important. It's kind of important to me, but not as important it is to our bookkeeper. So that's an example of something that you delegate to someone else, because to someone else it is important. That's probably why it's on your list. And of course, the last thing, which, like I said earlier, there are going to be some things that you should eliminate. There are going to be things that you should take off your to-do list in the first place, and that are those are the tasks that are not urgent and not important. So hopefully the Eisenhower matrix helps you figure out what are the things that you can really focus on as a employee, as a business owner, whatever it is that you are currently doing right now, because then it just helps with your time management skills. And this is also task management, by the way. If you are a virtual assistant or executive assistant or your operations person, having this just in mind when you're figuring out tasks and projects really help. Next is creativity skills. Again, let me know in the comments, from the rate of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how creative, or where would you rate yourself on creativity skills, as again I take a sip of my water. So reminder to stay hydrated. apologize for the siren passing by. Yes, so let me know, where are you at when it comes to your creativity skills? Let me know. I would love to know. So we have a 5s, we have 6s. All right, so again, hopefully the tips that I'll be sharing tonight will help with this. So what are the uses of creativity skills? One is it helps you create projects or actually even services from scratch, because once you develop your creativity skills, you are able to see or find things of how to make them easier, how to make them better for people, so then it's something now that you can sell later on. It also helps you find shortcuts to help tasks finish faster. It helps you, again, find through, go through the things that, if people, to get to C, people always have to go through B. What is the fastest way to eliminate B so you can just get to C? So that's what having really good creativity skills can help with. And of course, it keeps you learning for life. Like I mentioned earlier, when I started out working from home, I really had this curiosity. I really had this drive. It was mostly my creativity skills for writing, for graphics that got me started, which then always made me wonder, like, what else can I do to make this better? What else can I do to grow this? So what are the ways that you can grow your creativity skills? One is look at how others do it. This has helped me so much. Having a mentor has helped me leaps and bounds. So imagine I've started my own company as I turned 23. And the biggest reason why I was able to do that was because I had this amazing mentor who was walking me through the steps. He already had, at that time, he was 48. And at that point, he has already learned literally twice as I was about to learn in life, as I was about to learn about business. And because of that, I was able to skip a lot of the usual mistakes that a new entrepreneur would do. So having a mentor is always so powerful. That's why I love teaching here in FH Moms, because you guys have a lot of mentors. You have a lot of people that you can ask questions, that you can look up to, that you can see how their journey went, so then you can map out yours. One of the biggest guidelines I always have when it comes to choosing a mentor is they kind of need to be a person who has what you want. So if the life that you want is to have a business, you follow a person who already has a business. If the kind of life that you want is someone who has a really successful career, then you follow someone who has a really successful career. The second thing, though, that you have to keep in mind when you're finding mentors is they need to be a person who have been where you are. So for example, for me, one of my dreams is to live in New York. So then it would be logical for me to try to follow people who live in New York. But then it's a little bit harder if they're not Filipino and they don't have to go through the struggle of having to get a visa, of having to research, of having to find the apartment, because they lived in New York for their whole life. So that's why you need to look at those two things, not just that they have what you want, but they've also been where you are. That way they can guide you really well on getting to where you want to go. Also, another way that you can improve your creativity skills is to be open to other possibilities. So what that means is you're just open to different things happening. You're just open to seeing how things flow. So then you're able to, go with the flow and learn from it. And then of course, experiment on what you're doing to see if there's a better way. What that means is assess what you're doing every day. Assess, you getting up, what do you do when you get up? What's the first thing that you do? Do you get your phone? Do you go to the toilet? Do you try to take a bath? Do you take care of your kids? Try to assess and see what you're doing every day, and try to see what can I tweak? What can I move around to make my day better? What can I do to actually also improve my mood so I'm in a good mood the whole day? And one of the biggest ones is just find the fun. Find something that will make you laugh, will make you feel good. So this is kind of a semi-sad example. So last week I got into a motorcycle accident, still healing. My legs are right now have to be elevated, but my hands are fine now. But the whole time that was kind of happening, I kept trying to find ways to make my friends laugh or make myself laugh, because I knew that the moment that I tried to really focus on just the pain, I would just spiral. I would just kind of keep thinking of that over and over again. So for me, this is one of my favorite soft skills. I've already trained myself to always find the fun, to always find the good things when things are bad, because then when you always focus on just the problem and you're not focusing on how to get out of it, you're just going to spiral. You're just going to focus on that instead of having to be able to think of other things. So that's what find the fun means. And of course, this is really big, and I'll probably repeat this again later on, is you need to choose the content that you consume. What you put in goes out. So if you want to be a really good pianist, for example, if you want to really good at the piano, if you're just listening to someone who does just ukulele, you probably won't be able to listen to what are the small things that you need to notice as a pianist, as someone who is master at the piano. So same thing with the content they consume. If you're someone who wants to be positive, if you're someone who wants to feel good about life, then you follow people or you consume content that aligns that doesn't give you, again, drown you into the spiral. So hopefully that makes sense on creativity skills, on how to improve that. Next is problem solving skills. Now you'll notice that a lot of the things that I'll talk about with problem solving skills coincide with creativity skills. And this is what I meant earlier, that you don't have to master all 10 of the soft skills that I'm talking about tonight. Just choose one or at least 3. That's kind of where I recommend that you get started with, because if you master some of the 3, you're already also mastering the rest of them, because they kind of just go together. So of course, uses for problem solving skills. One is it helps you figure things out on your own, makes you more independent. It also makes you be a person who knows how to get out of situations without a lot of help. It also helps easily create solutions to problems that come up a lot. If you notice that every time you go into the office there is a creak on the door, then your problem solving skills will like, oh, I should buy a WD-4 or alert maintenance about this. You're noticing the small things that inconvenience people, and you're already trying to think of ways to improve it. And of course, it enables you to take control of the situation. Imagine if there was this crisis. Let's say, the car broke down. That's just the easiest one because you just got into road accidents. The car broke down. Everyone is panicking because you're supposed to go to this wedding. You're going to be late. Everyone dolled up. The makeup is melting because it's really hot. If you're someone who has really good problem solving skills, it's easy for you to step up, and this will coincide with another soft skills later on, which is leadership skills. It's easier for you to step up and say, okay, you call a mechanic. You make sure that we have the right tools. You make sure that those who are wearing makeup has a fan on their face. So because you have the problem solving skills, it's easier for you to step in and take control of the situation. So how do you improve this skill? 1, don't complain. What I mean by this is a lot of the time we state problems without the intention of solving them. So it could be as easy as, oh, it's so hot today. Oh my God, it's so hot. I'm so sweaty. That's complaining. When you say, oh, it's so hot today, can we go to somewhere where there's aircon? That's you stated the problem, which I really have to lean into this, which is basically whenever I say don't complain, people think like, oh, I can't say when there's a problem. You should say when there's a problem, and then you also want to approach it with a solution. That's why the second tip is, when you see a problem, you approach your boss with the solution and not just the problem. You're already giving them like, hey, I see this problem, I see this. For example, let's say in customer support, I see this glitch every time that I reply to a customer. How can I? These are the ways that I kind of researched about. I also asked our IT guy on what else we can do about it. These are his solutions. Which one do you think we can do? When you do this, you are not just training yourself to always find other ways to solve problems, but you're also showing your boss that you're someone who takes initiative, that you're someone who is willing to go the distance to be able to get things done. Next is learn the habit of researching. Google is your best friend. This is something that I teach a lot of my own coaching students. I teach my siblings also, is that Google is your best friend. You literally have a supercomputer on your fingertips right now. So just have the habit. Anytime you don't know anything, research about it. Go on YouTube, maybe find my YouTube channel and research and learn more about it. If there's something that you are never familiar about and your boss is asking you about it, just learn to research. Learn to also check your sources and make sure that it's valid source. So And so just learn the habit of researching, learn the habit of knowing that you have, again, a supercomputer on your mobile phone that you can just pick up and search for whatever information that you need. Next is learn to pause, especially when, again, it's a high crisis situation or if it's a stressful situation. It's so easy for us to just want to rush into things without having to pause. But the power is in the pause. So make sure that you also try to step back when there's this big problem, so then you can see things from different points of view. You can you're calming yourself down, so you're not in this survival mode. You're now in the mode of like, okay, I'm going to take control of the situation before it takes control of me. And of course, this goes into responding versus reacting. So let's say that you're here, you're listening to me, and then you hear a glass breaking on the other room. When you react, you shout, hey, what, you react based on that, based on the fear, based on the kind of a little bit of anger of something breaking. You react, you shout like, hey, what's happened, what broke, like, let me know. But then when you respond, you get up, you probably pause listening to me, and you go to the other room and you check the situation. Maybe someone got their hand scratched, or it was an accident, or someone just bumped into the glass and they didn't even know it was there. So that's what it means to respond versus just reacting, because you are taking more of that pause, you're taking control of how you respond to the situation. So you're then also taking in everything else that is there. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if problem solving is something that you want to develop or grow yourself. And then, of course, the last one is you have to remember to take action. You could have this elaborate plan on how you're going to improve yourself, how you're going to change your life, but if it's just till that, you're not taking action, it's kind of like nothing. Kind of like how the teachability index, you could be someone who is willing to learn, willing to take notes, willing to share this video, but you're not actually willing to take action to make the changes for you to improve your soft skills, and it's kind of like nothing. So keep that in mind. Taking that action is one of the more powerful things that you can do as you are growing this skill. Next is teamwork skills. Now, what are the uses, of course, of having really good teamwork skills? One is, of course, it's easier to work with other people. It's easier to hit company goals. Of course, it's easier for you to be motivated to get to a company goal if you know that everyone else is in it, if you know that everyone else is also going to support and back you up. So how do you improve your teamwork skills? One is get to know your team, do a one-on-one on Zoom with them, kind of hang out with them, schedule a virtual drinks on Zoom, or if you can meet, maybe probably not meet in person right now, but if you can get to know your team. Next is learn to have clarity and have boundaries with tasks. Exactly as earlier that I mentioned, when you have clarity, you're really being kind to the people that you work with. You're being really nice to the people that you work with. So having that clarity of what needs to be done, who needs to do what, and also having boundaries with tasks of making sure that there's not really a blurry line of who has to do what, it helps build that teamwork. Next is learn how to ask and get feedback. At the end of this training, I'll be giving a couple of books that I really recommend that you guys read if you're trying to improve any of the soft skills I'm talking about tonight. And asking and giving feedback really helps both sides, you and the person who's receiving or getting the feedback, be able to improve themselves better. Next is just ask the question often of how can I help? How can I make this better? How can I, ease this stress off of you, maybe, so then they know that you are open to having help. You know what it feels like when you don't have anyone to go to when you are having a problem. So being someone who asks, hey, how can I help, is there anything I can do to help, just asking those questions will really help grow your teamwork skills. And of course, as you also have a life outside of work, be aware of people's lives outside of work. try to get to know who their family is, how many family members that they have. Know that they will have things that they will never probably share with you, just because, again, they do have a life outside of work. So if you're giving them tasks, if you are working with them, keep in mind of that other life, of the thing that they are, is the reason why they go to work in the first place. Next is adaptability skills. Who here has heard of adaptability skills? Let me know. I'm not going to have you rate yourselves, but who here has heard of adaptability as a soft skills? Let me know in the comments while, again, I drink my water. Who here has heard of adaptability skills as a soft skill? Let me adjust myself a little bit. Let me know. You can rate yourself, or you can just tell me, yes, I've heard of it. No idea. Yeah, we have Anne says no idea. Resiliency. It's kind of resiliency, but not really, because resiliency is trying to make the best of a situation. Adaptability is you've morphed into this, and now you're willing to kind of fight back, or willing to move forward. So that's what adaptability skills versus resiliency is. So what are the uses of this? So first is, the world can shift so fast, and we've learned that in the last year, and being able to shift with it is valuable. And again, this is something that we have just learned literally in 2020, of how fast things can shift. 1 week we could be going out of town, going on trips anywhere in the world, and then the next week we're in lockdown. So having adaptability skills is not just making the best of the situation, but then how do you move forward? How do you then shine after this situation? Next is a lot in life, and I've definitely gone through this myself. I'm still probably going through this myself. Is often you have to wear multiple hats. So especially if you're working in a smaller company, in a company where they're just starting up, you're probably doing multiple different tasks, just because for example, let's say, when I started out in the publishing company, I had to do some graphics tasks. And the reason for that, even though I wasn't a graphic artist, I was more of an editor. The reason for that was because there just wasn't enough work for a full-time graphic artist. So it didn't make sense for us to hire a full-time graphic artist. Now, once we had enough books, once we had enough demand and need for a graphic artist, we hired one. So that's why sometimes you have to keep in mind that you might have to wear multiple hats. You might have to do different things. So being adaptable definitely helps with that. And you can only grow if you keep moving. If you are just a plant that is just not growing at all, you're kind of a little bit dying, right? But if you're someone who's flourishing, someone who's always willing to adapt and grow, then you can keep moving. So how do you improve your adaptability skills? One is be curious. Again, it's not about just surviving. It's now then, what are you going to do after you survive? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? So being curious is such a huge part of that, because you're always asking yourself, what else can we do here? How else can we grow? How else can we make this faster, better? How else can we have the life that we want? 2 is know your worth, but put ego aside. And this is such a big thing, and something that a lot of people are still learning. Some people are still need to be aware of. So what this means is, let's say, for example, when I restarted basically when I started this business that I now have, the virtual assistant agency, I knew my worth. I knew that I was, I've already was successful in growing a publishing company. I got it to a certain point where there's now a new CEO who took over. So I knew my worth. I knew I was this good. Not super amazing. I knew I was a good CEO. But then when I had to start my own business, I had to really know that, okay, this is my worth, but I need to get things done. It doesn't mean that I can't, that I should be this person who people are always looking up to. I need to put my head down and get the work done so I can get the first client. I had to do the sales calls. I had to kind of restart really all over again. I had to learn how to effectively hire VAs online and not just book editors and graphic artists from the book publishing company. So that's why you know who you are, you know your worth, but you're also willing to just do the work, because a lot of the time people don't see your value right away, and telling people what your value is when they don't see it usually doesn't work. So you have to show your value. Another way that you can improve your adaptability skills is to try something new every quarter. So I always try to do this myself. I even try to do something new every month, where I'm trying to learn a new skill. I'm trying to read a book that I never would have read a year before. So I'm always trying something new. I'm always keeping my brain kind of up to date to make sure that I don't lose that adaptability skill. Next is, of course, study and learn, kind of the same thing that I just said. Always try to see what else you can grow into, what else you can learn, and be persistent. Change the plan, not the goal. What this means is, for example, let's say for years my plan has to be able to go lower than 60 kilos. I'm now at 59, almost 58. I think I hit 58 the other day, which is amazing. But the plan kept changing. I tried to do intermittent fasting, where I fasted 16 hours and I only ate for 8 hours. I tried working out every day. I did a lot of different paths before I found the one where it's basically I just eat once a day, and I make sure to work out in the evening so that I'm not hungry in the afternoon or in the evening. So that was me always changing the plan, always changing the path, but then I knew my goal. I knew where I wanted to go. And of course, the last one is to be resourceful. Again, goes back to your researching skills. Again, a lot of the soft skills really overlap when you see it that way, because that's just how it is. Because one soft skill, as you master it, you're kind of mastering the things that overlap with it. Next is self-confidence skills. Self-confidence skills. So let me know, and I know this is a harder question to ask, where would you rate yourself when it comes to self-confidence? Let me know in the comments. Let me know where you think you're at in your self-confidence skills. Let me know if you are a 10, if you're a 1, if you're a 3, 5, 7, 7.5. Let me know, because this is such a... these are always one of the first things that, as I am training a new assistant in our company, these are one of the things that I really focus on with them. Because a lot of the time, and this is kind of just partly just our culture, we are not kind of taught to be confident a lot of time, or we taught to be overly confident. So our self-confidence skills is something that we were never taught how to really fully develop, other than if you're someone who just read a lot of books or watched a lot of movies about it. So I would really love to know, where are you at in your self-confidence skills? We have 2s, we have 5s, we have 7s, and again, that is okay. That's not a bad thing at all. Okay, so what are the uses of having really good self-confidence? Of course, one, all of the other skills that I just talked about tonight are going to be so much easier to implement, are going to be so much easier to work on. That's one of the biggest pros of working on your self-confidence, is everything else is easier for you to learn. Next is, you are able to ask questions and put forth solutions to the team. You're not just a problem solver, you're also now someone who knows how to stand up, to speak up, and tell people like, hey, have we tried this? Next is, you're able to know your worth and what you can do. Imagine if I wasn't someone who was self-confident and I was asked by Mommy MK to do this presentation. I would kind of be stuttering and like, why me? Why am I doing this? Why? I would kind of be doing that. And then I would be kind of a little bit shyer, like, hi guys, so today we're talking about soft skills. I really don't know a lot about this, but I'll really try to teach you. If I was going through that, if I was teaching you guys that way, you're probably not going to listen. But because I know in the last couple of years what I'm worth and what I can do, I can bring forth the value that you will all get tonight, that you have been getting tonight. And of course, it's going to be easier for you to take initiative. It's always going to be easier for you to take that next step, to move a project forward, to stop it, to start it, whatever it is. But it's easier for you to take that initiative to move yourself or move things forward as need be. So how do you improve your self-confidence skills? One, and it's honestly like a really good hack or thing thing to start thinking about is just have a goal. Having a goal gives you something to look forward to. Having a goal gives you something to always keep your eye on as you move through life. And I'm speaking from experience. I remember when I didn't have a clear goal, I didn't really know what I wanted. I didn't really know where I wanted to go. So having a goal helped me be more confident. One of my goals in 2019 was to be a international public speaker. So then everything that I did, every decision that I made was to be in service of that, was to be seen as this speaker. So I applied for different events. I went on podcasts. I introduced myself to people of like, I'm an inspiring public speaker. And then until to the point where I was speaking in Malaysia and in Singapore as an international public speaker. So having a goal helps you have that drive to keep moving forward. And keep in mind, no goal or no dream is too big or too small. It has to just make sense to you. It has to make sense to who you are and what it is that you want to achieve in life. 2 is know where else you can contribute in the business. So let's say you are a newer employee. To boost your own self-confidence skills, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. You can now then see like, oh, can we do this better? Can we do that better? Oh, I see that people are actually struggling, you know, other employees are actually struggling with this one thing. What can we do about it? So that's what it means of having that self-confident skills to be able to move things forward. Next is, this is a big one, take rejections. So one of the ways that I kind of really grew my own self-confidence skills before was I got to the point where I was getting authors and closing them, being able to publish their book. And I had to take a lot of rejections, I had to take some people bashing me, some people saying that why am I even approaching them in the first place? And even now, as I have my own agency, I still get rejections. I still get clients say, oh, I can't do this now. Oh, I changed my mind. I don't want to work with you guys. And and that's kind of part of life. I kind of had to learn that that's part of life, that people sometimes will not see your value. People will not see why they should be saying yes to you. And that's okay, because there might have just miscommunication. They might have not, you might have not communicated how you can help. So you need to learn how to take rejections, because again, it will happen. Whether that's a job that you're trying to get, whether it's a client that you want to get, you just need to learn how to take rejections. And of course, take care of yourself as much as possible. It's going to be impossible for you to be confident within your own skin if you are not taking care of it. So again, an example for me, in the last week, I've been healing from my injuries, and I got to the point of like, should I make a YouTube video for this Sunday? But I'm like, I can barely sit up, can barely really have a really smart conversation with people, so I don't think I can. So I took that break. I haven't posted on my YouTube channel for a whole week, which is weird for me. I've never done that before, but I had to take care of myself. I had to prioritize myself, or else I wouldn't be able to even be here tonight, because then I would have gotten even maybe more injured. Probably would have been sick of myself. So it really is important that you take care of yourself. And of course, set personal boundaries, have time for yourself, go on self-dates, make sure that people know when you're okay and when you're not okay to talk to, just because from time to time we will need that quiet time. And of course, like I said, reflect often. You can have a journal, you can have something that you track your habits with, just as long as you have some sort of way to see where you're at, see who is this person that I see in the mirror or in my selfie camera every day, just so then you know what you're going to be confident about. Next, self-motivation skills. Who here gets motivated every day? Every single day you're just motivated to get up, to get going? Let me know in the comments. Are you someone who gets easily motivated, or are you someone who kind of really needs a boost most days? So let me know in the comments. And I'm kind of just stretching my legs a little bit underneath my table. Make sure I have blood flow on my injuries a little bit. But yeah, let me know where you are at. So we have someone who says not me, and that's okay. Hopefully at the end of this part you'll be able to have a really good idea on how to motivate yourself. So what are the uses? So one is, of course, being able to easily handle ups and downs in life. Again, a really good example for me was just getting into a motorcycle accident. I've been able to get myself up and doing a webinar within a week and a day, because it just happened in Holy Wednesday. So yeah. And of course, yeah, you're able to be self-sufficient. You're able to be someone who is able to take care of themselves, and you become more consistent. Now, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in the last 2 years is consistency beats intensity. I could be posting, 20 videos a day, and then not posting for the next month, versus me posting twice a week, 10 videos in a month, but it's consistent enough that people know when to expect me, and people know when to expect that a video is coming. So that's what it means to be someone who is self-motivated. So what are the ways that you can improve your motivation skills, especially for those who said that they don't have any motivations for themselves? One is, keep in mind your goals. Again, this is overlapping with self-confidence for sure. Keep in mind your goals. Keep in mind that you have something bigger than you that you're driving towards. Know that you have something that, whatever the situation that you may have, is again bigger than you. So for example, for me, when I got injured, I was just keeping in mind that I still had an agency to run. I was keeping in mind that I have this really big goal of opening up an office in New York and being able to hire more Filipinos to work from home. I just had to keep all of that in mind as I was, being put on a lot of betadine, and being in a lot of pain. I had to keep in mind my goals, to keep myself, to get up every morning, to get myself to finish the things on my to-do list. Next is, again, be aware of what you're feeding your brain. A lot of the times we kind of get sucked into, and I go into these rabbit holes myself from time to time when I'm really tired, sucked into watching things or listening to things or reading things that actually harm you. One very sad example is just watching just too much of the news, because it's always going to be something scary. It's always going to be something that will get you to click and read the whole thing. That's how the news is structured. And usually when you keep doing that, you're not going to be as motivated to get up the next day, because you know that the world, that this is happening to the world. But the reality of that is that things are always changing, things are always shifting. It's good to be knowledgeable, but it doesn't mean that you have to constantly feed your brain with that negativity. And that, by the way, before I go to the next part, that also goes to who you listen to. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to choose your mentors. You have to choose the people that you follow to make sure that you are on track to where you actually want to go. So if you're constantly listening to someone who's always complaining, someone's always negative, that's what you're feeding your brain, and that's what's going to come out. That's what's going to be in your head as you try to motivate yourself to get your goals. Next is choose where you spend your energy on. So what that means is being mindful of, okay, I spend 30 to 1 hour just scrolling to TikTok. So that's where you're spending your energy on, and keeping in mind what you put in, you put out. So if you're spending 30 minutes to an hour on TikTok, and I'm sometimes guilty of this, then you're just putting your energy in somewhere where it's not valuable. So you have to keep that in mind. Just be aware. You don't have to make a lot of changes right now. Just be aware. Next, and this is again another really important point, is only compare yourself to yourself. Only compare yourself to past you, to future you, because when you start comparing yourself to other people, it hurts you more, it hurts them. That's just the reality of it. They're living their best lives, they're living the life that they want, but then you're just ending up comparing yourself to them. And a lot of time when you compare ourselves to other people, we end up not knowing the other side of their story. A lot of you have said earlier in the comments, I want to be like you. I've gone through so many things in my life to be able to get to this point that you might not be able to have to go through. You might be able to skip. That's why you really need to keep this in mind of, if you keep comparing yourself to other people, you don't know the whole story. You don't know everything that they've gone through in life to be able to get to that point. I honestly went on a rant a couple of months ago now, about the Sana All meme, where you keep saying like, sana all, if someone got something really nice, like sana all, when you keep doing that, you're actually already comparing yourself to that other person without knowing the context of how hard they maybe have worked to get that, or how easy it was for them to get that because someone else got them for them. So keep that in mind, that you don't know the whole story. It's only a post on Facebook, or it's only a post on Instagram. Keep that in mind, that you don't know the whole story. So just compare yourself with yourself of the future you and the past you. And the last one, and this is again really important point, is baby steps. Keep in mind that you don't have to climb the whole mountain. You just need to take the next step, whatever that baby step looks like. As long as adaptability skills, you keep in mind your goals, but you can always change your plan. Next is decision making skills. Now, hopefully I'm still doing good on time. I know it's already been over an hour, but soft skills, whenever I do this training, is one of my longest ones, just because it is like 10 different ones that I have to go through. So let me know if you want me to slow down, if you want me to give more examples, or if you want me to speed up also, I can also do that. Let me know in the comments. So what are the uses to having really good decision making skills? One, it helps save time and money. For example, let's say you're stuck somewhere. Let's say you're traveling through Siargao, where I really want to go right now, and you can't decide whether you want to change resorts or not. That's costing you time and money. That's worrying you. Instead of you going to surfing or you exploring the different amazing, beautiful things in Siargao, you're wasting your time on this. Not only that, you're also wasting the money, as you are still paying for the nights that you stay in that resort instead of switching. So that's why having really good decision making skills helps you save time and money. Next is, it increases self-confidence. If you're someone who is able to just decide and know that you can conquer the consequences, whatever they may be, that increases your self-confidence to keep moving forward. Next, it also helps develop your critical thinking skills. When you're someone who knows how to decide things really fast, when you're someone who knows how to move forward, it develops that part of your brain, because then you're someone like, oh, okay, what's the best thing for the situation? Okay, let's move forward with that. And like I said, it moves you forward easily to the next thing. And I'm going to show you a graphic in a little bit of what that means. Now, how do you improve your decision-making skills? One is you need to define the problem. A lot of the time, we confuse what the problem is. We're not sure if this is the actual problem that we're supposed to solve. We're not sure, what it is that we actually even want. So that's why the first thing, if you're trying to improve your decision-making skills, is to define the problem. Actually state it, like, okay, this is the problem we're trying to solve. These are the outcomes that we want. What do we do now? And then next is ask for perspective from others. Like I mentioned, having a mentor or having someone who's going through the same journey as you, just ask them for perspective. Like, hey, what do you think of this? Because a lot of the time we can be too close to the problem that we don't see any other solutions because we're just too close to it. So asking for perspective really helps. Next is you want to ask yourself, what else is possible outside of this? If I wasn't stuck in this box, what are the things outside of this box? What are the things that is available to me, but I'm just not seeing it right now? Next is you then, of course, want to evaluate the choices. Once you have them, okay, this is A, this is B, this is C, and then this is important, you have to take action. Again, you could be someone who has solved how to cure, the most deadliest disease on earth, but if it's just there, if you're not taking action, then it's still a waste. And the last one is iterate. So what I mean by iterate is you are always willing to go back to the original state. So let's say, for example, for those who are running Facebook ads, I'll try to use this as an example. Let's say that the headline is 10 ways to get a job online. So that is kind of the headline that you're going with. Iteration means that you're willing to experiment to see if you can boost that better. So from 10 ways that you can work online, you put 10 plus ways. So it's more than 10 ways that you can work online. So you're experimenting. You're seeing, like, okay, what does this decision make? And if it doesn't work, if it actually lowers the numbers, like lowers the clicks, then you go back to the what was before, and then you test and you test and you fail and succeed until you find that one change that helps make everything better. So this is what's usually called as decision tree, and it's why you want to know that you should probably pick fast. And the reason for that is there's always going to be that next decision, and if you get stuck on any of these, then you're kind of just stuck. So of course, do you want a book? No, maybe you want a pizza. So if you kept just going back, do I want this book? Do I really want this book? Do I really want this book? If you keep getting stuck on that, you never know, you're probably just hungry. And if you want the book, do you like it? Do I really like this book? Do I want to read the whole book before I decide that? Then it'll actually take you, again, longer, cost you time and money. If you just say yes, are you sure? Buy it, right? So it's that easy of a structure of how you can think of decision tree. Is until you make that decision, you won't know what's next. And now, last one, and let me know in the comments again, where would you rate your own leadership skills while I drink a big chug of my water. Where would you rate your own leadership skills? Let me know. So we have 9s, we have 6s. Awesome. Very awesome. I love how honest all of you are about this. That's pretty awesome. Okay, we have some 8s, we have some 5s. Okay, so what are the uses to having leadership skills? One, it's important if you want to move up in the company. That's just the biggest one. If you have your own business right now, then of course having leadership skills is essential for you because automatically you are the leader. Next is, this is applicable whether it's in the work or personal life. So whether it's your workplace, whether it's your church even, whether it's a community that you have, leadership skills is still essential. Next is, leadership skills actually teaches you a lot about yourself, about your own limits, about your own strengths and your weaknesses, just because you're putting yourself out there, which not a lot of people are willing to do. Next is, it's just easier for self-development. It's easier for you to know how else you can grow when you are aware of yourself, aware and leading yourself as well. So what are the tips? What are the ways that you can improve your own leadership skills? So one, find a coach. Exactly as early one where you find a mentor. Finding a coach is one of the fastest ways that you can have leadership skills. And the reason again is you get to skip a lot of the problems, a lot of the headaches that come with leadership skills as you are developing it. For me, a lot of my coaches were books. A lot of my coaches were people that I followed on TED Talks or online. And like I said, at the end of this training, I'll be showing a bunch of books that I really recommend that you guys read. So first one is, again, find a coach. Find someone who has what you have and has been where you are. Next is experiment with your leadership style. I had to do this a lot as I was learning to be CEO. I was thinking like, am I a micromanager? Am I someone who more delegative style? How do I give people tasks? How do I monitor those tasks? So I had to really learn what worked for me, because then I can easily communicate that with other people. Next is learn how to create systems. Now, this is a huge one, and it's actually one of the things that I focus on with our own assistants is they have to learn how to create systems. So systems is basically a way that you can repeat a result. So for example, let's say for my YouTube videos, I have that systematized down to a pat. I know that it takes me 20 minutes to 30 minutes to record a video depending on the length. I know that it'll take my assistant about 4 hours to be able to edit that video. She has a checklist of all of the things that she needs to make sure is in that video, such as my Instagram handle, making sure that I have the intro, making sure that I have a really good outro. So she has that checklist of making sure that I have everything in that video too. So it's a little bit the same as the last couple of videos. We have a checklist of how that looks like when we're uploading it on YouTube, from the thumbnail, the title, researching all of that. So it's systematized. It's something that we can repeat over and over again. It's something we have repeated over and over again as I upload each YouTube video. So that's what I mean by learn how to create systems, because then it's less of a guesswork for you. It's easier for you to repeat the same results over and over again. Next is start developing a vision. So same thing as your goal, start developing, okay, where do I see this team 10 years from now, 5 years from now? Where do I see this business in the long term? When you start thinking long term, it's going to be easier for you to solve the small problems, because you know that that's just part of being on the path of being someone who has a vision, has a goal. And of course, learn how to delegate effectively, not just giving someone tasks and not following up with them. So learn how to delegate with people, learn how to work with people to make sure that you get things done. So again, these are the top 5 books that I really recommend if you want to work on any of the soft skills that I just mentioned. Mindset, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The 1 Minute Manager, Linchpin, and Obstacle is the Way. All of these books are available in National Bookstore and on Fully Booked. And of course, it's available if you have a digital copy. You can buy a digital copy off of Amazon as well. And these are all of these are really, really good books. None of these books, I've read these books at least twice. That's how good these books are, because I always want to keep learning. Always want to be curious. So these are the 5 books that I recommend. Again, take notes, take a screenshot. Again, all of these are available on National Bookstore or Fully Booked. You can just order them with Fully Booked as well if they don't have it in stock. That's it. That is it for tonight. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll go through any of the comments. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you so much for chiming in. Thank you so much for letting me know and being honest with your scores. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and watch out for my YouTube videos every Sunday and Thursday if I'm not sick, because I will take care of myself to gain my own confidence skills. And yeah, let me know any questions that you guys might have, any curiosities that you might have as well when it comes to developing your soft skills. Let me just scroll over. Thank you for everyone who also watched till the end, of course. Thank you so much for staying through. Let me see. I don't think I saw any questions earlier. And if you do, let me know again in the comments. I would love to know if there was anything that wasn't clear, if there was anything you wanted me to expand on. I don't see any questions in the previous comments. Again, I will be here usually every first and third Thursday of the month to help you out. So, okay, we have a question from Jack. With time management, what are the things that you can do, that you can consider that you are not important and needs to be eliminated? So there's a lot of different factors for this. One is, this is directly move things forward. That's the biggest one for if you're trying to categorize what important is. Is this something that helps move this project forward, move my task forward, move my life forward? So for example, it's not as important for me to it's not as important for me to read a fiction book, honestly. In the context of getting work done, it's not important for me to read a fiction book versus me reading a really good leadership book. However, if I'm taking a break, if I'm relaxing, it's more important for me to read that fiction book versus that leadership book. So it really depends on what you're focusing on, what your goals are. That's why it's really important to know what your goals are, to be able to choose what is that important thing and what is it that's not important that you should eliminate. So a lot of the time, like I said, we sometimes get stuck in keep doing tasks that we should probably have stopped doing a long while ago. So try to just check, just to see throughout your day, what are the things that I should probably just stop doing that are actually hurting me, to be able to move forward, so I can really focus on the stuff that are important. Next, we have a question from Anne. Joe watching your webinar. I have a question: how to beat procrastination. So I have multiple ways to do this, because I can get easily distracted also myself. So I guess I'll give 2 hacks. One is called the 2-minute rule. Is literally set a timer on your phone, have the task in front of you, set the timer, and if you really can't get it, can't get started in 2 minutes, you let it go. you take a break, and then you get back to it. That's just called the 2-minute rule. It's literally making yourself get started and get it done. The next one, and I already talked about it a little bit, is called the Pomodoro method. It's when you set 25 minutes of work and 5-minute break. The reason why that works with procrastination is that at the end there's this thing where you get to do whatever you want. There's this reward. So when you're doing the Pomodoro, it gives you that relaxation of knowing, okay, I can take a break after this, just 5 more minutes, just 2 more minutes. So that's how I've used those two are the ones that I use a lot to break myself out of procrastination, is doing the 2-minute rule of just setting a timer. Okay, I'm just gonna focus on this is just the thing that I'm focusing on. I'm not gonna get distracted. I've sometimes even deleted all of my tabs, just had this one tab open to make sure that I just get this one thing done. So yeah, that's one. Next is a good question from Honorlo. How do you manage yourself when you think you're overwhelmed or burnt out from work? Just take a break. I'm lucky in that way where I am the business owner, I am the boss, so I can just take a break when I need it. So I just took a 5-day break last week when I got injured, and I gave people like a heads up of what was happening. So that's kind of one thing that I've been able to do. But even when I was still an employee, even when I was still working, when I am overwhelmed or when I feel burnt out, one of the easiest way that I've done it is I just step outside. That's just one. Because sometimes we get cooped up especially when you're working from home, you get cooped up in your room, you get cooped up in your house. Just stepping outside and just taking a deep breath gives you already that perspective. You can walk around a little bit, you can take a jog if you wanted to, but that's just one of the ways, is you're literally stepping out of the bubble that is making you stressed and overworked. So that's one of the ways that I manage that, is I take myself out of the situation and kind of say, okay, why am I overwhelmed? What are the things that I can do to move things around so I'm not as overwhelmed or stressed out with work? So yeah, hopefully that helps. Thank you, Julie. Yes, I'm also hoping to get better soon. Let me see. May is asking, sorry, I had another question. I will work on my skills, like what you said, at least 3. Yeah, just choose 3 that you want to work on. You don't have to work on all 10, because as you can see, even if you just work on 1, even if you just work on just leadership skills, that's honestly one of the more in my opinion, leadership skills is one of the skills that as you master that, everything else falls together. Everything else is easier for you to do. Decision making, confidence, communication skills, all of that is going to be easier. What headset are you using? This is a Mi, like the brand MI. Forgot, but I bought this, if I remember it, I bought this off Lazada. And it's just Bluetooth. I can walk all the way to like the next bedroom to me, and I can still hear things. So yeah, that's my headset. Hey, let me see if there are any questions. Yeah, let me know if there's anything else that you guys need clarity on as well. I'd be more than happy to help out and give that clarity. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the soft skills that I just talked about, a lot of that are things that I've been teaching our own employees. A lot of these are things that I'm hoping that as you are all starting or boosting your own work from home career, would help a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining me tonight. I don't think there are any more questions. Again, I'll be here again next Thursday. I don't know how many Thursdays this month has. Probably on the 22nd to talk another topic, and then again on the 6th. I'm here basically kind of every other Thursday. And hopefully you won't get sick of me. Let me know if there's any other soft skills or any parts of having a career online that you would like to learn more about. Make sure to comment it below so I can make sure to create a training for that. We have a question from Lady Rose. What is your tip to have better time management skills? Okay, so very good question. I didn't put it in the tips. Okay, so one of the fastest ways that I always teach people if they want to be better at the time management skills is, I did talk about this a little bit earlier. Literally keep a journal or a documentation of what are the things that you do every day, and then expand that to a week. That way, you are literally aware of how long things take for them to get done. And of course, with that, you can then take control of it. You can't take control of what you're not aware of. So when you create that diary, when you create that journal of what are the tasks that you do in a day, in a week, in a month, and you see how long it takes you, then it's going to be easier for you to rearrange things. It's going to be easier for you to be aware of when to work on things, especially if there's a deadline, because you know how long a certain thing will take you to be able to do. So I did talk about it a little bit, but I didn't really expand on it. But that is one of the biggest tips that I have to have just better time management skills, is just be aware of what you currently spend your time on. Okay. Jacqueline has any books you can read to develop leadership skills. Okay, so going back. Okay, so on this list, the 2 books that I really recommend if you want to up your leadership skills is How to Win Friends and Influence People and The 1 Minute Manager. Those 2 books are really good books to just read and peruse and make notes. And I have read myself The 1 Minute Manager at least 10 times. That's how many times I've read that book, because it's such a good book on upping your own leadership skills and how you work with people. How to Win Friends and Influence People ups your communication skills, actually, which then of course ups your leadership skills, because then it's going to be easier for you to work with people. So yeah, that is that. Okay, next question from Yanni. How hard is it to look for an employer who are accepting no experience as an VA? So it depends on the employer. Honestly, because a lot of the time, especially when an employer, they've never hired before, they've never worked with people before, they will think that the more experience it is, the more that they'll get value out of a person. But if they are someone who has worked with freelancers before or had employees before, it's going to be easier for them to know, like, experience isn't everything. It's easier for them to think about, like, oh, I just need to have a person who has a really good character, soft skills. I just need someone who has a really good soft skills, for them to decide, like, oh, I want to work with this person. So it's honestly not, and I'm talking from the experience of someone who has a virtual assistant company. It's not too hard to find those people. I have multiple of my friends who just ask me for referrals all the time, even though if they don't have experience, they're fine with that. So again, it depends on the kind of boss. So I can't really speak on it, but know that they exist. Know that there are bosses who are okay that you don't have experience, because they're willing to train you on them. Okay. I have a question from Maria Noresa. How old are you? I'm 25. So I've been working from home for 10 years. So yeah, that's why I kind of look young, because I kind of am young at 25. So yeah, I guess that is it. It's already 9:31. Hopefully, feel free to connect with me again on Facebook, on Instagram. I'd be more than happy to connect with you guys and talk with you guys there. Please do let me know if you're coming from FH Moms, because I do have some people who just chat me randomly. I'm like, I don't know where you're coming from. So let me know if you are going to connect with me on, again, my Facebook page and Instagram, or maybe on YouTube. Maybe watch a few of my videos, even though I haven't posted in a week. Thank you everyone again for tuning in. Thank you for asking your questions in the comments and sharing and tagging people. I hope that, again, that you guys grow with the soft skills. I hope it's easier for you to get more jobs. So yeah, thank you so much everyone. Night.
Tara na tumutok na sa FH Moms Radio, habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo.
FH Moms Radio, changing lives, one mom at a time. Moving forward, giving back with FH Moms Radio.
Tara na tumutok na sa FH Moms Radio, habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo. Marami kang matututunan, dahil di lang basta chikahan. FH Moms Radio, mga momshi ating to.
Tara na mga momshi, mami, nanay o mama, andito na ang FH Moms na makakasama. Ang online radio na magbibigay advice at mga kwento na siguradong mapapanay. Ito ay hindi lang basta mga chikahan, andito sila upang ikaw ay gabayan. Turuan ng mga tips sa paghahanap buhay at maging isa ka sa successful na nanay. O diba? Kaya saan ka pa? Basta ikaw ay momshi, dito bida ka. FH Moms Radio number 1. Ito ang online radio ng sangkanan na yan. Di ka lang basta nanay, ikaw ay super nanay. Para sa pamilya ang lahat ay iaalay. Lahat ibibigay, lahat ay kayang gawin. Ang iyong pagiging nanay lalo pang palakasin.
FH Moms Radio.
Tara na tumutok na sa FH Moms Radio. Habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo, marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FH Moms Radio, mga momshi atin to. Mga momshi, tara na, dito'y bidang-bida ka. Ipagmalaki natin na tayo'y magigiting nga ina. Mga mami, tara na, dito'y bidang-bida ka. Ipagmalaki natin na tayo'y magigiting nga ina.
FH Moms Radio.
Tara na tumutok na sa FH Moms Radio. Habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo, marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FH Moms Radio, mga momshi atin to. Tara na tumutok na sa FH Moms Radio. Habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo, marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FH Moms Radio, mga momshi atin to.
Tambay na! Nagbabalik ang FH Moms Radio.